surrounded by wrestling fans. Not sports entertainment fans. Professional wrestling fans!
World, look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go! Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change! Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up!
Yes! 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 Yes!
That's 13-14!
Dina, I am the best in the world.
'Cause that's the bottom line. 'Cause Stone Cold Simpson.
Beautiful people of the wrestling world, it is me, that HEAD, back with you for another installment of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you guys are well, and whatever it is you are doing. Hope you guys had a good week in the world of professional wrestling. On today's show, ladies and gents, as always, we're going to talk Raw, we're going to talk Smackdown, NXT, TNA, Ring of Honor, I hope, and definitely ICW. Also, we're going to talk, that's right, we're going to talk Extreme Rules predictions as well. Extreme Rules predictions will come with the Raw review. So that'll come in one big audio later on today. I've got a few other things that I want to talk about, mainly to do with the Mystery Island, but I'll get to that in a second. I'll get the plugs out. Check out everybody on the Swerve Talk Network. I do this every week. Why? Because it's part of the deal now. You have to have it. It has to be done. I'm on the Swerve Talk Network, so is Kitty Killer and my mentor and Sunday Segway. I can't speak. Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast. Be sure to check that out as well, along with Max Wrestling with Craig and Daz and the co, and as well as Offshoot Radio. For fuck's sake, somebody get me a pair of teeth. Offshoot Radio with the one and only James Belmont, my arch nemesis in Beat the Clock, but a good lad nonetheless, Mike Rodriguez, and Roxy, and everybody else who's on that show. So, also check out the man who was over as fuck, Evan McCabe. So, be sure to check all them out as well, and the only way you'll get to see them is on their respective YouTube pages and the Swerve Talk Network in general. All the links to them will be in the description below. Be sure to check all them out, because you will not regret it, believe you me. And like James said, it is the elite of podcasting. Can't go wrong with that. If it's the elite of podcasting, that's a reason right there for you to check every single one of the podcasts out. Now, ladies and gents, also I want to talk later on, because I've got another top 10 for you. I'll do that last. Top 10 things that WWE wants you to forget about one HBK. That will be to come later on. I've seen it. I've seen the video. Very interesting, let me tell you. As it always is when it comes from What Culture Wrestling. Also, a big shout out to Wrestle Talk Television as well, and congratulations. Apparently, they've formed a new partnership with What Culture as well, so salute to you. And that leads me to a very interesting week, ladies and gentlemen. This past week, now, like I said, I did a video on this. Look for the video, is on my YouTube channel as well as my Facebook, but it's on my YouTube channel, the Wrestling Matters YouTube channel. It is Thank You Mystery Island. The link will be in the description below. Yeah, this is what you get, ladies and gentlemen, when you make deals. Like I said in the video, you make a deal with somebody to put that person over, or to put that certain somebody over, you get good things. And I've got some good things, let me tell you. Because this past week, oh boy, this past week, I got a couple of things sent in the mail. Now, you've probably seen it on my YouTube, my Facebook page, and that. You've probably seen it on there as well, my Facebook page, and the Wrestling Matters Podcast Facebook page, and my normal Facebook pages, if you follow me on Facebook or added me as a friend. Also, I got a signed autograph in the mail this week from Mystery Island. It was their poster, but it was signed by one Jimmy Havoc. That's right. Baddest motherfucker in British wrestling, and the guy responsible for, in my opinion, the greatest heel turn in the history of heel turns, and the history of pro wrestling, no doubt. WWE couldn't do the heel turn he did, let me tell you. They couldn't do that if they tried. But he is responsible for that, and I love him to bits. I'm not gonna lie, he's a fucking legend, and for what he's done for me, he's even a bigger legend to me now. I look forward one day to meeting him. I follow him on Twitter as well. Get him on Twitter. He's on Twitter. I even tweeted out thanking him and Mystery Island, but thanking him for signing the autograph as well. He liked it. So salute to you, sir. Absolutely superb. And not only that, a big thank you not only goes to Mystery Island, of course, Peter and David Anderson and all that, but a big thank you also goes to Jay Apter. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, who the fuck's Jay Apter? Well, I'll tell you who he is. He is responsible for TNT Extreme Wrestling. He added me this week on Facebook as a friend and let me know that he is responsible and he's the mastermind behind TNT Extreme Wrestling, because in the mail this week, along with that signed autograph from Jimmy Havoc, I got Cold Day in Hell DVD from TNT Extreme Wrestling. Free. Didn't have to pay for it. I got it for free. And it features, like I said, it features people like Big Damo and Dave Mastiff, who actually go one-on-one with each other. The Hunter Brothers. If you don't know who the Hunter Brothers are, you obviously don't watch Progress. They've actually appeared in there a few times. ICW's Viper, Part-Time Crew, Joe Hendry, Kenny Williams, Luke King Sharp, Joe Coffey, Mark Haskins, NGW champion at one point as well, Bubblegum, as well as Rampage Brown, a guy who I'm definitely very familiar with in terms of his work. And yeah, I got it this week. I've seen clips of it. I've seen briefly what it's like. I haven't watched the full DVD yet, and I will do it at some point when I get some peace and quiet. And I'm not doing anything, so I will do it at some point, and I will review it. Where I will review it, I do not know. When I'll review it, I even don't know. But I will review it at some point. You can rest assured on that. It took place on December 19th, 2015, right before Christmas, 6 days before Christmas. I'll throw this in as well. For any information on TNT Extreme Wrestling, follow them on Twitter at TNT Wrestling UK. Follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/TNT Wrestling, and go to their website as well, www.tntwrestling.co.uk, for more information on TNT Extreme Wrestling. And I'm very much looking forward to watching that DVD, no doubt, as well. And yeah, big thank you to Mystery Island as well. Like I say, guys, for any information on Mystery Island, all the links will be in the description below. Check out their Facebook page. I'll throw in the Facebook page as well. Check out their Facebook page, which I believe is Back to the Island. That's right. Facebook.com/Back to the Island. All the links will be in the description below, whether you've seen this on my websites, whether you've seen this on my SoundCloud account. By the way, SoundCloud, over 200 followers. Greatly appreciate that as well. And also on my YouTube page, all the information to the Mystery Island will be in the descriptions below. Check them out. They're a good bunch of dudes, great guys, and I greatly appreciate all the work they've done for me, and all the things they've done for me in terms of sending me autographs. I have had Rockstar Spud autograph, Carlito autograph, and my third autograph that I've got from them is Jimmy Havoc, and that's the best one by far as well. I wasn't expecting the DVD, the TNT Wrestling DVD, but I greatly appreciate it. So big, huge thank you to Mystery Island as well in that respects. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for part 1. I'll be back in part 2 with the Raw and Extreme Rules predictions. The Raw review and the Extreme Rules predictions. So be sure to check that out and listen to that. And I'll be back in part 3 with Smackdown NXT, TNA, Ring of Honor, I hope, and ICW as well. Definitely ICW, definitely TNA. Not so sure about Ring of Honor at the moment. I think they might be on a break or something because they've had global wars, and like I said to you last week, they're probably recovering from the fact that Adam Cole's now a member of the Bullet Club. So hopefully they're back this week as well, and if they are, I will review them on this show. If they're not, well, that's just the way it is, unfortunately. Like I say, you can never guarantee when these wrestling shows are on. So all of that is to come on this podcast. Also, top 10 things that WWE wants you to forget about Shawn Michaels according to What Culture. So all of that's to come on this podcast. Big podcast, guys, so stay tuned. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/WMPodcast and like the page and show your support to the podcast that stands up for professional wrestling, the Wrestling Matters podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Hi, everyone. It's me, Ted HEAD, back with you for another Raw review, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, I'm going to do it now, get it out the way, because I've just finished watching Raw as I'm doing this right now. And yeah, a very good Raw, if I do say so myself, quite frankly. Not the greatest of Raws, not the best of Raws, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. And not only, as you can probably tell by the video, guys, it's not just a Raw review, it's an Extreme Rules prediction too. That's right. Extreme Rules is this Sunday. I will be watching it on the network. Not going to do a live stream with it. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I will record some reactions, probably. But I will be watching it on the network this Sunday. And yeah, I'm probably going to record a reactions video at the most. I don't know how I'm going to plan that yet. But I'll do the research this week and hopefully bring it to you this week on Sunday. But let's get to Raw. Monday Night Raw. Kicked off this week with Styles and Roman Reigns in the ring. A confrontation. And Styles, this little verbal confrontation. And obviously Roman thought that he was going to fall into a trap, or supposed trap, and still thinks and still doesn't believe a word comes out of AJ's mouth, still thinks that he's going to use Carl Anderson and Dark Gallows, AJ that being, to become the World Heavyweight Champion this Sunday. And just as he was doing that, Carl Anderson and Dark Gallows walked out. But as they were walking down the aisle, Usos came in. AJ turned around and took a right hand in his mouth from Roman Reigns. All of that led to later on in the evening, which was the six-man tag. Well, not the six-man tag, the tag team match with the number one contender and the World Heavyweight Champion in respective corners. I'll get to that later. Now, something happened next, which was a confrontation involving the World or the Intercontinental Championship. Because the Intercontinental Champion came to ringside. Obviously, during the commercial break, Kevin Owens came to ringside. And it was meant to be Cesaro versus Sami Zayn, a little revamp of a certain match that was on NXT that, quite frankly, elevated Sami Zayn in WWE. Go back and watch them NXT matches, and you'll understand what the fuck I'm talking about. But a little thing got out of hand, and Kevin Owens got sick and tired of talking to The Miz. Quite frankly, I don't blame him. I don't blame him, to be honest. Anyone can get sick and tired of The Miz that easy. And as he got up, he grabbed hold of The Miz and they both started fighting on the outside, which led to them two falling in the ring. And then the match got thrown out because Cesaro attacked one, Sami Zayn attacked the other, which led to a tag match. Now, Shane had the idea of putting Cesaro and Sami Zayn together and then The Miz and Kevin Owens. However, Stephanie came up with a different idea. A very different idea, which I liked, quite frankly. Okay, I don't like the team of the Cesaro and the Miz, but quite frankly, Miz with anyone I don't like, full stop. Except Maurice, but that's another issue. Kevin Owens, well, they put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn together. Now, any Ring of Honor fans seen this video? Remember the good old days? Yeah. Former Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, now two guys who just can't stand one another. And they managed to get the victory in what was a good tag match. But that didn't stop them from battering each other's brains in at the end. Because even though Sami got the win, Kevin Owens took the credit and said that he won the match, not Sami. After Sami got the pin, Sami turned around and walks right into a super kick from Kevin. So it's all going down this Sunday, guys. It's all going down this Sunday in the Extreme Rules Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship. It's all going down, man. It's all going down. Now, I can't think of what happened. Where's the matches? Something I liked. Dana Brooke got an impressive win over Becky Lynch. Now Dana Brooke has to go this on her own now for the time being, because it was announced on Twitter and earlier today that Emma injured her back on a WWE live event and has to go surgery, so she's going to be out for a long period of time. But it worked nonetheless. And Dana ended up getting the victory. Very impressive, I must say. So it's good to see Dana Brooke. But to the one thing that I actually liked, I really enjoyed and really liked on Raw. Yes, they faced two jobbers from North Carolina, whatever. But Los Matadores is no more, thank God. Okay? Los Matadores is no more. Okay, that's why El Torito is no longer with the company. The Shining Stars made their debut, otherwise known as Primo and Epico. Yes, they're back, ladies and gentlemen, under a new name, a new look. Probably one of the finest tag teams around. Before some git in WWE decided to go, oh yeah, let's put them under Matadors. Let's make them Matadors and everything. Give me a break. These two are really good. Yes, this was their debut match, and they were impressive. But I predicted big things for these two. And I really like these two a lot. Like I said, I liked them the first time around because they were a really good tag team. They didn't get, hardly anything out of it, but they were a really good tag team nonetheless. So I'm looking forward to see what these two bring to the table. And now we get to probably the worst but funny part of Raw. Golden Truth. I didn't cover this on SmackDown because it's been pointless. 5 months of this. And it seemed that Fandango jumped Goldust on SmackDown, and then Truth tried to do the same thing, and then Tyler Breeze jumped Goldust and Truth, and then Breezango was born. Now, don't get me wrong. Tyler Breeze and Fandango, I don't have a problem with. It's Golden Truth that I have a problem with. 5 months of going through these vignettes that they did. One point they were asking for, Goldust wanted him to be the partner, R-Truth that is, and then Truth saying, oh yeah, we need to be partners, and then Goldango and Gorgeous Truth came involved, and Goldust standing on top of a toilet. God, Bennett. 5 months to finally see these two idiots tag teaming. And don't get me wrong, I love Goldust. I wish Goldust would go back to the old Goldust, the man who used to win championships and take things seriously. But I remember one time he got electrocuted on Raw, and he was never the same again. And don't get me started on R-Truth. For those of you that don't know, R-Truth was a former World Heavyweight Champion back in the day. Just letting you know. And these two, 5 months build to this point, and these two end up losing to, which was the funny part of Raw, quite frankly, to Tyler Breeze and Fandango. 5 months, basically for fuck all. That's what it was. I don't know what to do. It hurts my brain. It really does. It really does. And it seems that this team is not over yet, because there was a miscommunication which allowed Tyler Breeze and Fandango to get the victory. And now it seems that these two want revenge on Breezango, or what the... I swear to God. I answered a question this past week on my podcast that was brought to me on Twitter by, will wrestling ever be respected by the mainstream media? Not when shit like this happens. This is partly one of the answers I put. God, Bennett. Don't get me started on the situation with Tyler Breeze. But anyway, at least Tyler Breeze is now winning matches. So the sooner that ends, the better. And I'm not looking forward to see what happens next. If Tyler Breeze and Fandango works and benefits Tyler Breeze, then I'm all for it. But I don't see it, quite frankly. Oh boy. Then it was the supposed match, the tag team match, the Usos, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows, with AJ in the club's corner, Gallows in Anderson's corner, and Reigns in the Usos' corner. Now, this was a great tag match, and finally the Usos get the victory over the club. But that wasn't the story, ladies and gentlemen. All hell broke loose between Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, and the chair was in there. AJ went to use it like he said he would earlier on in the night. He said that the first chance he gets, he'll use it. And he went to use it, but took a right hand for his process. And then Gallows and Anderson provided the distraction, and it was an opportunity for AJ to use the chair. And he did. He beat the tar out of him with it. And let's just say the phenomenal one, ladies and gentlemen, got extreme on WWE's new poster boy, Roman Reigns. Because he hit Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, with a Styles Clash on the chair. I loved it personally. And I don't know if this is the case of Roman begging management or creative to allow AJ to use that, or whether or not, because there's all this talk about the Styles Clash being banned in WWE. I don't think it is, quite frankly. I think AJ's being asked to tone it down a little bit on using it, but I don't think it's been banned. But this is the time of the month where it's extreme, or the time of the year for WWE where they go extreme. So who knows? But I'm very much looking forward to that match now this Sunday, and it's not going to be like what happened to Payback. And God help, it doesn't happen again. But this time it's an Extreme Rules match, so anything can happen. That's what makes it more interesting. There's actually a stipulation on it, unlike Payback when it ended up being 3 matches in one. You know, first it was a normal match, then a no DQ match, and then a no count out match. Actually, it was no count out, then no DQ. So thankfully, there's nothing in this match. I'll go to Kalisto and Del Rio. Kalisto and Del Rio one-on-one. Del Rio got the victory thanks to a little bit of help from Rusev, the opponent. It's all built into this Sunday. The opponent for Kalisto, Rusev, who's still helping one of his old cronies in the League of Nations. But it's anything to get at Kalisto, because he ended up beating the tar out of Sin Cara backstage and got his revenge. I got a little sample of what he could do, or what will possibly can happen to Kalisto this Sunday by putting on that camel clutch move that he does and literally just bending Kalisto back like a pretzel, quite frankly. Unbelievable. And it's amazing he didn't snap him in half, but anyway. And the single 7-foot beast, thanks to Shane and Stephanie, got to go one-on-one with Devon Dudley, which turned out to be, because Shane and Stephanie said Big Cass will wrestle out one of the Dudleys after the Dudleys went in and demanded a match against 2 North Carolinians. And they got Big Cass instead. Devon managed to go one-on-one with Big Cass and beat him within, say, 3 minutes at the most, 2 minutes at the most. Miscue between the Dudleys, and Big Cass manages to hit his finishing move to get the victory. A clean win on his own without Enzo still recovering from that injury he took, or injury he suffered at Payback. Get well soon, Mr. Amore. Now, contract signing, which was a joy. I'll get to the little bit. in a second as well, involving Mr. Dean Ambrose and the Booty-O's. But I'll go to the contract signing, which ended Raw. And ended Raw very interestingly, to be honest, because they signed the contract. Charlotte ran her mouth off. She didn't choose the big cheese, and the only reason that she was in that Charlotte, because the best name Flair, she was getting cheered in Greensboro and whatever. They read the contract, and apparently Shane and Stephanie put on the contract that if Charlotte or if Ric Flair comes down to ringside, based on what happened last week, if Rick comes down to ringside at Extreme Rules, he will cost Charlotte the Women's Championship automatically, because Charlotte will forfeit the Women's title if Ric Flair comes down to ringside. So basically, when Shane and Stephanie said that Ric Flair was banned, they made it. And then Ric Flair completely lost the plot, saying that Stephanie was the worst businesswoman he ever seen, and he was trying to like her based on who the husband is, Triple H. And Shane tried to calm him down and all that, and then Ric Flair just completely lost the plot. Even Charlotte was trying to calm him down to no avail. And then Shane wanted to go at it with Ric Flair. Ric Flair wanted to go out with Shane, and Shane was calming him down, saying he has too much respect for him for that, yada, yada, yada. Stephanie pulled him away and said, "You might have some respect for him, Shane, but I don't," and just literally slapped the taste right out of Ric Flair's mouth, knocking him flat on his ass. Charlotte didn't take too kindly to it and was going to go for Stephanie at one point. That was until Natalya swept her up, put her in the sharpshooter, and made her tap. And then it ended Raw with her holding the Women's Championship. And believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything that needs to happen in Extreme Rules, it's that. If there's anyone who deserves a Women's Championship or a title run, a female title run, it's Natalya. This should have happened a long time ago, but no. So I'm glad she's getting the push and getting what she deserves. But if there's anyone who needs to win this Sunday, it's Natalya. Big time. Okay, I know it's probably not going to happen. I'll get to my predictions in a second. I know it's probably not going to happen, but if there's a God in this world, please let it happen. Okay, even though there's rumors flying around that Sasha Banks is going to win the championship at SummerSlam, from what I've heard. But anyway, let's go to the Booty-O's. New Day came out with this Time Warp machine, and it was all built into their match with the Vaudevillains this Sunday. And they tested it out, and it seemed to work, television and that. And they went back in time, because, you know, the Vaudevillains like to do their black and white stuff. They went back in time. God's honest truth. Kofi came out as his old self. You know, the SOS, I hear them shouting, and start dancing around and everything. And then Xavier Woods came out and said, "We're not that back yet. We're not that far back yet." Just drags him back in the box. And they came out with this little thing and everything, and basically mocked the Vaudevillains, which didn't take too kindly with the Vaudevillains, because out of nowhere they jumped them and send a message to the tag team champions. And let's just face it right now, if you watch NXT, you know the Vaudevillains ain't no pushovers. And I think the New Day's got their hands full on Sunday. I'll get to that later. Dean Ambrose wanted to call out for the last bit here. Dean Ambrose wanted to call out Chris Jericho. For what? I don't know. Chris Jericho was looking for an apology from Dean Ambrose for ripping his $15,000 jacket up last week. Ambrose had other ideas, because he challenged Chris to a match, which Chris accepted at Extreme Rules. But it wasn't just any match. It is now going to be in Extreme Rules, Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho in an asylum match, which is a steel cage wrapped around, normal steel cage filled with goodies, orchestrated by one Dean Ambrose. You know, straight jackets, the plaid pots, kendo sticks, whatever. I think Mr. Jericho's got his hands full this Sunday because the last thing he wants is to be in a steel cage. Okay, he's been in many steel cage matches in the past, but I think the last thing he wants is to be in a steel cage with Dean Ambrose, especially in an asylum cage. So that's what this basically is. The old Ambrose asylum. Chris Jericho's going to step in and be the first person to step in to the Ambrose asylum. Not this. Yeah, the Ambrose asylum is not a talk show. Jericho's going to find out what the Ambrose asylum is this Sunday, and I wouldn't want to be him. All in all, a very good Raw, ladies and gentlemen. Very good Raw. I will probably give it, out of 10, I would probably give it a 7. Yeah, I'll give it a 7. And I'll give it, out of 5, a 4. No, do you know what? 4.5. Because I actually enjoyed it this week. And it was a good way to go into Extreme Rules this Sunday. Speaking of Extreme Rules, let's go to the predictions for Extreme Rules this Sunday. Where are we? There we go. United States Champion Kalisto defends against Rusev. By the way, before I get to that, preview show, Extreme Rules pre-show. No disqualification. Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin. I think Mr. Corbin is going to win that match. I'll just get that out the way. Ziggler won Payback. I think Corbin's going to win this one. So let's get that one out the way. We have got United States Champion Kalisto versus Rusev. Tricky one, because Kalisto's been a great champion, no doubt. I think Kalisto is going to retain. I'm kind of hoping Rusev gets the belt because John Cena's back in 2 weeks. And I've got a feeling there's going to be another Rusev and Cena match on the horizon. I don't know. That's just my opinion on that. Yes, you heard me correct, ladies and gentlemen. Cena is back in 2 weeks. And I sense another Cena versus Rusev again. I don't know why. I just got a funny feeling it's going to happen. My prediction is Kalisto, but I've got a funny feeling if Rusev wins, don't be surprised. But my prediction is Kalisto. Tag team matches, I think New Day will retain. I don't think they've got anything to worry about. Yes, the Vaudevillains might have their number, and I don't think they've got anything to worry about. I think the New Day will walk out tag team champions. Although if the Vaudevillains win, I won't be disappointed. But I think the New Day will walk out tag team champions. Like I said, I don't think they've got anything to worry about. The Vaudevillains do have their number, but I think the New Day will come out on top. Charlotte and Natalya submission match. I've already made my prediction. I'm rooting for Natalya, but I know Charlotte will probably win. But I'm really rooting for Natalya on this match. I really want her to get what she deserves, quite frankly. And she deserves a run with the championship, at least. But like I said, there's rumored plans that Charlotte will face Sasha Banks at SummerSlam, and Sasha will get a champion, will win the title. But prediction-wise, I'm going for Natalya, but I won't be surprised if Charlotte wins. But if Natalya wins, I'll be rooting for that. I'm rooting for that. That has to happen, but I know it won't. But my prediction's Natalya. Where are we? Intercontinental Championship. Miz, Owens, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. I'm kind of rooting for Sami Zayn. I think they're going to... I don't know. Sami Zayn will get the belt just to rub it in Kevin Owens' face, quite frankly. You beat me at Payback. I got your title. Kind of thing. He probably should have won it at WrestleMania, quite frankly, but he didn't. I'm going for Sami Zayn on this one, but I think this one will definitely steal the show Sunday, this 4-way. Can't believe I said steal the show and Miz in the same sentence. But anyway, Sami Zayn will win the championship this Sunday. I'm predicting that right now. If Cesaro wins, I won't be disappointed. If Kevin Owens wins, I won't be disappointed. Just as long as the Miz doesn't win, because I'm not the biggest Miz fan. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that don't know, and this is your first time watching wrestling or WWE, the Miz used to be a former WWE champion. Anywho, Ambrose silent match. Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho, and Dean Ambrose will close this feud once and for all by the victory. I don't know what to expect in this match, but all I know is this. It's interesting. I'm looking forward to it. And Ambrose will win. That's all I know on that one. And then we'll go to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. Now, my prediction is this. Roman Reigns to retain. But I'm hoping AJ wins and puts an end to this. Because it's an Extreme Rules match. You know Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are going to get involved. Probably the Usos will do the same. Something's going to go down big. I want AJ to win. But I don't think it's going to happen. My prediction is Roman Reigns to win, but I'm pulling for AJ. Okay? I'm pulling for AJ. But it might be, again, too soon for him to be world champion. He's going to be world champion at some point. WWE world champion at some point. You know it's going to happen at some point. It's just a case of when. I'm hoping it's now, but I don't think it will be. That's just my opinion. But Roman Reigns, I predict Roman Reigns will retain. I know I'm probably going to get stick for that, but I'm just being honest. Roman Reigns will retain, but I'm kind of hoping AJ wins. Actually, there's no kind of. I'm hoping AJ wins. I'm hoping they pull the trigger and allow AJ to be champion. I don't see it happening, though. However, I'm thinking about something that might go down this SummerSlam involving Roman Reigns, should he still be champion. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins match at SummerSlam, anyone? Seth's due back at SummerSlam, Tam. Maybe they're waiting for that to happen. Roman Reigns is the guy now. And Seth dropped the title because of his injury. Something to think about, guys. Really is something to think about. However, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for this video. Just doing a little few his and theirs, so don't mind me what I'm going to do. I'll be back this Sunday. I'll be back next week as well. Check out the podcast on this channel. Check out the new episodes that's just gone up as well. Check out all the good stuff in the description below. All the good stuff that's going to happen this Sunday. Hope you guys enjoy Extreme Rules. I will have something up, like a reactions video at some point next week, hopefully. But I'll have a review up as well this coming Sunday. I'm thinking about doing another live stream again, like the pay-per-view thing, but I don't know when I'm going to do it. I've been very busy as of late. There's a lot of things going on. I might just save it for SummerSlam, quite frankly. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. But I'll have a reactions video at something this Sunday. My reactions and shit like that. So look out for that next week. I don't know when I'm going to put the full video up or do the highlights, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. And yeah, that about wraps it up for this video, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you weren't here and you didn't see it on the live stream or whatever, don't worry. It's going to go up on the channel anyway. So if you missed anything, you haven't missed much. It's going to go up on the channel. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in to check this out, guys. My WWE Raw review and Extreme Rules predictions all in one video. Until next time, guys, for the Wrestling Madness channel, my name is Anthony Walker, saying peace out and 2. Sweet! See you next time.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shubs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
There's only one wrestling podcast that gives you honest, uncut opinions and the most unique trivia since WWE did The Weakest Link. And the only place you can hear the show-stealing podcast promo every single week.
Covering WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground. Max Wrestling Podcast is the place for you. Join myself, Evan Money Michaela, the Phoenix, and the Butcher. Sundays at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern time with your host, Danny Dangerously, on VOC Nation and the Swerve Talk Network.
Go to maxwrestling.wix.com/maxwrestling or follow us at maxwrestlinguk for more details.
Give in to the madness.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you enjoyed the Extreme Rules predictions and the Raw review as well. Now, we're going to get into NXT and Smackdown, but in case you didn't see this during the week, I'll give you a little bit of a hint. Courtesy of what happened in NXT Portland over the weekend, a live event, a massive brawl, which I will put all the links to the video and stuff in the description below. Finn Balor will get his rematch at NXT TakeOver June 8th against Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship. Probably his last match in NXT. And, yeah, it's in a steel cage. Yeah. First time ever in NXT, an NXT steel cage match for the NXT Championship at For Sale University. They're in for a treat. That's all I'm saying on that. So all that will take place June 8th. Now, going into NXT results, I'll do NXT results first since I've started with NXT. The matches that were on this week were Carmella taking on Peyton Royce and beating her. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa defeats Danny Burch and Rob Raisin. I hope I said that right. The main event was Nia Jax beating Bayley, probably one of Bayley's last matches before she ends up going on to the main roster. She's due on the main roster sometime soon, when I don't know. The match and NXT kicked off with a very interesting tag team match. Blake and Murphy took on the team of Shinsuke Nakamura and Austin Aries as well. And Austin Aries and Nakamura won. So that was for the NXT. That was all the NXT this week. That is going to be interesting June 8th. And I will be covering June 8th NXT TakeOver as well, so on the podcast sometime soon. So look out for that, no doubt. Now we'll go straight into SmackDown. And like I said, I'll leave all the links in the description below on YouTube or SoundCloud or even my website or the Swerve Talk Network, wherever you're seeing this or hearing this, whatever. All the links will be in the description below. So to the two videos, you know, the brawl itself that was on WWE.com and the live contract signing that took place on Facebook. So all the links to that will be in the description below, so be sure to check all that out. Chaos erupted between the club and the group known as the Bloodline days before Extreme Rules this past week on SmackDown. The matches were Dana Brooke beating Paige, Dolph Ziggler beats Sheamus, Kevin Owens beats Cesaro, Dean Ambrose checked Chris Jericho into the asylum early, Big Cass and the WWE Tag Team Champions New Day defeat the Vaudevillains and the Dudley Boys, and the WWE World Heavyweight Champion defeats Luke Gallows by disqualification. And I'll talk about that now, actually. With the rest of the Bloodline and the club watching at ringside, the World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns and Luke Gallows engaged in a huge slugfest in SmackDown's main event. The two powerhouses trade blows in the hard-hitting showdown that soon erupted into a major brawl right before Extreme Rules when AJ grabbed the foot of the Extreme Rules opponent, i.e. Roman Reigns. The contest completely broke down when Carl Anderson entered the contest to help Gallows take out the title holder, prompting the referee to call the bell. And then all hell broke loose after that. And then Jey Uso and even Roman Reigns and AJ Styles ended up fighting on the announce table, all leading up, ladies and gentlemen, to the match that took place at Extreme Rules, and you guys know what happened. The review of Extreme Rules will take place next week. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is about all I'm going to do for the Smackdown and NXT reviews, or NXT main points. Hope you guys enjoyed that. After the break, I'm going to talk TNA and ICW. Ring of Honor this week, ladies and gentlemen. I might as well tell you about that now, actually. Ring of Honor this week is not the TV show with the matches on. It is a look back at Jay Lethal's rise to champion. The reason that being is the rise to champion taking place when it all started, when he won the TV title and became the very first two-time Ring of Honor World Television Champion, and the first time he joined the House of Truth, leading into him winning the World Championship. There's matches on there, the best matches he's had during them reigns, even the match he had with one Alberto Del Rio, then known as Alberto El Patron. So that's what's on Ring of Honor this week. It's a 60-minute show looking back at Jay Lethal's rise to becoming arguably the greatest TV champion in Ring of Honor's history, and not only that, arguably probably one of the greatest world heavyweight champions in Ring of Honor's history too. So, go and check that out. Find it wherever you can find it, and it's on ringofhonorwrestling.com as well, on the TV segments where you can watch the actual Ring of Honor television shows on their website. So be sure to check that out, guys. And I'll be back right after this with TNA and ICW. So stay tuned. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not follow the Wrestling Matters podcast now on Twitter at WMPodcast for all professional wrestling news. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you enjoyed the predictions for Extreme Rules and the Raw review as well. Now, we'll get into ICW. ICW, then TNA. In this part, we'll get into ICW first, though. The Local Fire defeated the Rich Kid from Instagram in a tag team title tournament match. Something leads to tell me that there's something going down with the winner of this tournament and Polo Promotions. I don't think we've seen the last of Polo Promotions, so I think there's something going to go down with this tournament. Something big in that respects. But the Local Fire managed to get the victory, despite the fact that Wee Man has this plan to drive a wedge between Davey Boy and Joe Hendry. What the fuck he's playing at, I don't know, but Joe Henry's fed up with it, and quite frankly, it seems Davey Boy's fed up with it too. The LT degree with Sami Zayn, the LT degree, Liam Thompson trying to get Sammy to join up with him and his girl in a threesome, or their group, if you will. Carmel put an end to that, challenges Sammy to a last woman standing match for the title. Sammy puts Liam and his girl in their place, and then accepts the challenge. So it's going to be Carmel versus Sami Zayn in a last woman standing match at some point. Don't know when. I'll get to the main event. Joe Coffey and Jack Jester. If Joe lost, he'd leave ICW. If Joe won, he'd get a number one contender. He'd be the number one contender, or he'd get a title shot somewhere down the road. And he won the match despite shenanigans from the Black Label and everything. Big Demo came out and made things right, and Joe manages to get the victory. Now for two classics, ladies and gentlemen. Mikey Whiplash and Johnny Moss. Now, Mikey Whiplash is known for having classic wrestling matches in ICW, and I've seen Johnny Moss's work firsthand, up close and personal. This guy is a beast, okay? This guy's a suplex beast, and these two went at it, wrestled, and Johnny managed to get the win with a German suplex, because that's what he's good at, suplexes. Question is this the last time we've seen Mikey Whiplash in ICW? There's rumours flying around that he's been leaving tweets on his Twitter page that he could be leaving. So hopefully it's not, but when you put on classic matches like that, you don't want that person to go. And now for the other classic match. BT Gunn one-on-one with Kaylee Ray. Despite shenanigans from Kaylee's boyfriend at ringside, Stevie Boy, BT and Kaylee Ray had an epic match. This was a classic, which saw BT managing to get the victory with a super kick. Now, for those of you that don't know, you probably think, this was overmatched. Get yourself on the ICW On Demand. Apparently, this episode is free of the Friday Night Fight Club. Get it and check this match out. And you tell me this was a one-sided match. Nah, it wasn't. Kaylee Ray's a tough chick, and BT is BT. ICW's version of Sabu, as I call him. However, both of them had an epic match, and it was a classic. No question about it, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the match, despite the fact that after the match when BT got the victory, Stevie Boy managed to get involved, although Viper came out and hit him with Snakebite and chased him away. There's going to be a mixed tag match down the road. I don't know when it is, but I'm pretty sure it's in the pipelines and all that. And that about wraps that up for the Friday Night Fight Club, guys. Now, let's go to TNA. TNA was headlined this week with the Willow revealing himself to be Matt Hardy. Okay? There's more, stuff going down. There's more stuff going down involving Matt Hardy and Jeff. And Matt Hardy claiming that he loved Willow more than he loved him. Enough said on that one. Also, there was a match, a little preview of a match, in a lumberjack match involving Drew Galloway and one Bobby Lashley. And like I said, Willow was to be revealed as Matt Hardy. Velvet Sky's job is Velvet Sky is over in TNA. That's the end of it. Mike Bennett beats referee Earl Hebner, then cuts a promo on EC3, and this feud between him and EC3 is not over by a long shot. Speaking of EC3 defeats his old bodyguard in a last man standing match. Tyrus, that is. Eddie Edwards and DJZ defeat X Division champion Trevor Lee and Andrew Everett with Shane Helms. Something for Eddie Edwards to do while Davey's away. Bram and Eli Drake face off. They're going to be facing each other in a King of the Mountain match at some point. And chaos erupts in the lumberjack match, which ends in a no contest involving Drew Galloway, Bobby Lashley for the TNA World title, which all leads to their match at Slammiversary in June. And that's already been done as well. So that's what went down in TNA, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that, as well as the ICW retrospective as well for the Friday Night Fight Club. Like I say, guys, get on their on-demand service and check out that Kaylee Ray match with BT Gunn. Apparently, I think it's free still, so get on it while you can. And I'll be back right after this with the first of 2 top 10s, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, I'm going to bring you 2 top 10s from Walt Culture. One being about Shawn Michaels, the other one preparing you for Extreme Rules. Building into Extreme Rules since it's Extreme Rules weekend. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll be back right after this. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/WMPodcast and like the page and show your support to the podcast that stands up for professional wrestling, the Wrestling Matters podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters podcast. And now, after we've had TNA, we've had ICW as well. Now it's time for the first, and I'm going to split these into 2 segments, guys, since there's nothing else really for me to talk about on the podcast today. I'll do an outro as well to close the podcast, but I'm going to get to the main headline of this podcast: 10 things WWE wants you to forget about Shawn Michaels, according to Walt Culture. Okay, so yeah, good old HBK, Mr. WrestleMania and that. Back in the day though, he was a bad boy. Number 10. He got fired the first time around in 1987. Now, back in the old the AWA rather, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty formed the Midnight Rockers, which later became the Rockers in WWE when Vince brought them up north. But for the first time around, they were only there for about 2 weeks because the boys apparently did not want them. So Vince had to fire them. And Vince said, the reason why I'm firing you is because the boys don't want you. Despite the fact that Marty Jannetty slept with somebody who Terry Funk actually liked back in the day. And that's what I've heard anyway from Walt Culture. And in a bar scene, or at a bar one time, Shawn Michaels whacked a bottle over his head just to prove that he could go. But apparently the guys didn't want them there. The boys in the locker room didn't want them there. So Vince fired them, which was a joy in its own right. But they came back, as you well know, and had a good run in WWE and were a big hit. And yeah, they were a big deal until 1992. Anyway, number 9, ladies and gents, the Rockers won the tag team titles. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they did. They won the WWE tag team titles at one point. But the match was so diabolical on TV, the rope broke in the match, that WWE had to cancel it and hand the belts back to the champions at the time, who were the Hart Foundation, which was a shame. But the match was pretty piss poor. Vince McMahon decided not to air it on TV, which was a shame because they probably have had a good run with the titles as well. But I mean, they were before they came in, the former AWA champions. Anyway, number 8, the Rockers fight. Now, apparently these two got into a fight in a hotel at one point where the cops nearly got involved. But Macho Man, being Macho Man, said that it was all for an angle, just to prevent them from going to prison. And they were on the verge I think one of them was on the verge at one point, I think they were both were at one point, of jumping ship to WCW, and Piper was stirring shit up and this, that and the other, and lo and behold the fight broke out, and like I said, Macho Man got involved and said that it was all an angle, just to prevent them from going to jail, because if they hadn't done that, they'd have probably went to jail. Lo and behold, it turned out to be an angle, didn't it? Because it all led to the barbershop scene. Number 7, The Undertaker almost beat the living daylights out of him. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, why would he do that? Back in 1998, leading into WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels was hard to deal with. He was the WWE champion at the time, and he was on the verge of dropping the title at WrestleMania 14 to Stone Cold Steve Austin to welcome the Austin era. However, Shawn Michaels was a little reluctant in doing that and dropping the title to him, because back then he had so many drug addictions and so many problems back then, and he even had back issues as well, which led him to his 4-year hiatus. But according to popular rumors, or popular stories, including from Jim Cornette, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker rather, was waiting backstage with taped fists and sat down in front of a monitor to watch the Austin Shawn Michaels match. And if Shawn hadn't dropped the title, The Undertaker would have been his welcoming committee as he came back in the locker room, and he'd have probably woke up in a hospital bed. But thankfully, that didn't happen. Shawn Michaels dropped the title to Austin, hence the Austin era, and Shawn was gone for 4 years at the most due to a severe back injury. So whether he liked it or not, he basically had no choice. Number 6, he posed for Playgirl. Yes, girls. He posed for Playgirl. There's a horrible picture going around, and I don't know who came up with the idea, but I'm sure Vince fucking wanted to kill them for it. There's a picture going around on YouTube, on the internet, probably. You'll be able to get this on Google at some point. Shawn Michaels butt naked with the old WWF title before it later became the Attitude Era's belt and everything. Shawn Michaels was the last ever to hold the original, the title that was brought to the masses at WrestleMania 4. There's a picture of Shawn Michaels butt naked with the belt around his genitals, covering his genitals. Yeah, I'll leave that with you. Number 5, he was suspended. Now, this was going back to WrestleMania 10. Yeah, because at WrestleMania, we all know it led to the ladder match. Now, apparently, Shawn Michaels, and he claimed this on his DVD as well, that he failed a drugs test, but apparently he didn't take any drugs, and he tested positive for drugs leading into WrestleMania. So WWE had no choice, and he took it like a man. WWE had no choice but to suspend him, and he took the belt, the Intercontinental Championship, hence the match with Rick Martel and Razor Ramon, the last two in a battle royal the previous week, which led to them facing off on Raw for the Intercontinental Championship. And then Shawn came back with the title that he never lost. Razor had the title that he won off Rick Martel in that battle royal. Fiasco on Raw. Boom, boom, boom. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Hence, the ladder match was born at WrestleMania 10 that season. So technically, it all worked out well in the end. Number 4, he wasn't a good teacher. Apparently, everybody claims that he didn't teach Daniel Bryan that well. That's what people are claiming anyway. I don't know, I wasn't there. But he wasn't a very good teacher. There were times where he brought somebody else in to do his work, as far as teaching him the wrestling ropes and whatever. This picture's flying around and everything. I don't know what the whole story is behind that. But because as we all know, he runs a school, Shawn Michaels. He's had people come through like Lance Cage, Hernandez, and people like that. And apparently, he wasn't a very good teacher, so he got somebody else to take his place. But we all know when Daniel Bryan eventually came into the WWE at one point, he later got transferred over to the WWE's developmental area, which was MCW at the time. I believe it was called Memphis Championship Wrestling, where he met one William Regal, and the rest is history on that one. Number 3, he got beaten up by Marines. Now, this was all leading into what happened. Apparently, this was back in the day when he was a prick and all that. Story has it that he got beaten up. He was hitting on a Marine's wife Marine's girlfriend at the time, and he got his ass kicked in a bar fight. Hence to the problem when he was supposed to wrestle Shane Douglas, at In Your House pay-per-view, and he walks out with that black eye and probably a jacket that he got from the Men on a Mission closet. Just unbelievable stuff, and he handed over the Intercontinental Championship to Dean Douglas that night at In Your House, only for Douglas to lose it to Razor Ramon. Yeah, enough said on that one. Number 2, what happened to his eye? Now, apparently, I never really noticed this, but apparently he had an injury on his eye. If you see his eye, it's closed in now a lot more, and it's a lot more bad than it used to be. Apparently, this was caused in a match, of course. Apparently this was caused in a match with Kane at an Unforgiven show, where you could see in the match he's actually bleeding in the match from the eye, and apparently it got worse during the match. This was at the Unforgiven 2004 pay-per-view, the month after Randy Orton won the championship at SummerSlam, only to drop it a month later to Triple H, when Evolution basically stole it from him. However, on that night, Shawn Michaels wrestled Kane, and that's where you got the injury. And number 1, he ruined WrestleMania. Now, for those of you that don't know, I've actually covered this on a previous podcast, but I'll cover it again. WrestleMania 13 was supposed to be, well, it turned out to be Bret Hart and Austin, and Sid versus Undertaker. The idea for that WrestleMania was supposed to be Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in a rematch from 12. Shawn Michaels going in it this time as the champion, and Bret being the challenger. But, as we all know, that didn't happen. Why that didn't happen? Because back then, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart couldn't stand one another, both refusing to do the job for one another, hence to what happened with Shawn taking a fake injury, depending how you see it, losing his smile angle, and dropping the title eventually, which Bret eventually won at a Final 4 pay-per-view, only to drop it the next night on Raw to Sid Justice, or Sid Vicious. Hence, Sid Vicious, Undertaker, WrestleMania. And Bret versus Austin in probably one of the best WrestleMania matches around, and probably the best heel turn, babyface turns of all time too. But that's what was meant to happen. But as we all know, guys, back then, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels couldn't stand one another. They despised one another, despite what you hear or you probably hear. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps that up for the Shawn Michaels Top 10. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Little fascinating moments. I'll drop all the links in the description below if you want to hear it, if you want to see this video itself. It's all on What Culture Wrestling on YouTube, and probably their website as well, but I've got the YouTube page. WWE.whatculture.com as well. Be sure to check all that out. I'll leave all the links in the description below. And yeah, I'll be back right after this with another top 10. I'm going to give you another top 10. Why? Because I can. And I'm going to give you it right after this quick timeout. So stay tuned.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shubs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters podcast, and now it's time for another top 10 from What Culture. That's right. And I did consider whether or not to do this next week, but I'm going to do it this week instead. It is the top 10 most extreme WWE matches ever, hence being it Extreme Rules Weekend. So why not do this? Let's do it. Number 10 on the list, ladies and gents. By the way, a little side note, this might be, you might not agree with this, then again you might, I don't know. But anyway, number 10, Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon, King of the Ring 2001. Probably the most brutal match that Shane McMahon's ever had in his whole damn life. And Shane McMahon's got balls, ladies and gentlemen. He has got balls. Jumping off things and shit like that. This guy can do it, no doubt. And in the match is well known. It's a street fight, King of the Ring 2001. And it's well known for the spot where he ended up doing a shooting star press onto a trash can, and Kurt Angle throwing him through the glasses in the Titantron area underneath to a point where he botched at times, but credit to Shane, he said keep on going. He didn't want to ruin the spot, and I think at one point, the first one took 2 attempts, the second one took 3 attempts, and I think at one point even Shane broke his tailbone. Anyway, number 9, the WrestleMania TLC match. Now, this was good for spot. Highlight being Devon taking that spear. Actually, what was meant to be Devon, I apologize, taking that spear from the top of the ladder, which turned out to be Jeff Hardy. It was meant to be Devon, but Devon was afraid of heights, so Jeff took it instead, and it was taken from Edge. Number 8 was the hardcore match involving Mick Foley and Edge at WrestleMania 22. Where do I begin with this? Barbed wire, Mr. Saka. Edge going through thumbtacks and that, like if it was Randy Orton back in Backlash. Barbed wire being wrapped around Foley. Barbed wire, Barbie being involved as well. And of course, the spear through the flaming table, which basically ended the match and ended probably what was the show stealer of the WrestleMania 22 show. Now, the next one, oh boy, the next one, which I have to admit I do not agree with, quite frankly, but it was a fight, there's no question about it, but whether you agree with it or not, I don't, quite frankly, but it was a fight, and that was the Hollywood Backlot Brawl involving Piper and Goldust. It was a fight. It was all planned and all worked out and all set out to the point where they wanted it. But what ruined it for me was the old situation where the O.J. Simpson trial got involved. That little clip where you see the car going down the motorway with the cops behind it. Fucking O.J. Simpson bullshit that was as well. It wasn't the real deal. Somebody decided, we'll put the O.J. Simpson clip in there for added entertainment. Give me a break. And then the whole fight ended up in the backlot, which ended up back in the ring, and just ended with Piper literally beating the tar out of him, quite frankly. Poor Goldust or Dustin Rose. Next one was an I Quit match at Judgment Day involving John Cena and John Bradshaw Layfield. And these two literally beat the tar out of one another to the point where John Cena had a pipe ready to hit JBL with it, and JBL says, I quit. Even though John ended up hitting him anyway, and John ended up winning the match. But it was a bloodbath, no question about it. Old John Cena beating the corporate jackass at the time, JBL. Next was a tag team match involving from Extreme Rules. One Night Stand 2005, which saw the Dudleys against Tommy Dreamer and Sandman. And this had everything. It had the Impact players getting involved. It had Spike Dudley getting involved. Beulah getting involved. Francine getting involved. It had everything. Classic ECW at its best. And it was a fight. And then after the match, even Stone Cold showed up. But it was a fight, and then Dreamer gets put through the flaming table to lose the match. BWO get involved as well. Axel Rotten, Balls Mahoney, like I say, Kid Cash, Impact players, Spike Dudley, Beulah, Francine. The list goes on and on. It was good old ECW at its blatant best, ladies and gentlemen. Next one was the No Holds Barred match at 2004's Backlash involving Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, and one Randy Orton. Now this was highlighted by Orton taking the bump into the thumbtacks, which was supposedly, he was going to do the RKO, but Foley countered it, and it ended up going into the thumbtacks until Orton eventually RKO'd him. RKO'd Mick, onto Barbie to get the victory. And yeah, it was just a brutal match, and many believe it was one of Orton's best matches. Many believe that, and quite frankly, it's not hard to argue that point anyway. Next one after that was, number 2, I would imagine, was the JBL Eddie Guerrero match from 2004's Judgment Day that same year, which was a complete bloodbath in its own right. Holy shit. But as I found out watching this, it was a mistake. It was actually a mistake involved in that match, because when JBL, that little scene at the end, or the spot in the match where JBL completely just whacks him with a chair, and and he whacks him so hard to the point where you think a gun was going off. The little blade that Eddie used to cut himself, yes, he used a blade, he cut it in the wrong position. Hence the blood that came out of that match, of Eddie's face and everything, and apparently he had some medical attention after the match. Not just for the chair shot, not just for what happened, but he had to have medical attention. He had to have medical attention after the match, because he made that mistake of cutting himself in the wrong position, which almost cost him his career. But it was a bloodbath nonetheless, and Eddie damn sure got his revenge that night against JBL. And I believe number 1 was the I Quit match. Yes. Chair shots for everybody. I Quit being from the Royal Rumble of 1999, The Rock, and one Mick Foley, Mankind. Now, you see the match on pay-per-view and you see what happened where you wax him with the chairs and everything, and this is actually number 2. You see that and everything, you don't think it's that bad, it's just a spot match, and yes, Rock may have went a bit too far with it and everything, but it did help. You see how serious it is when you watch Beyond the Mat movie, because what you don't realise when you watch it on the pay-per-view until you see it on Beyond the Mat, Mick Foley's wife and kids were at ringside, and they got the brunt of it too. The kids seeing their daddy get his ass kicked, and, well, the wife not taking too kindly to seeing Rock hit him with so many chair shots, to the point where they eventually threw it out with the I Quit, the voiceover I Quit, which technically did not happen, which led to good things at St. Valentine's Day and whatever. But yeah, you don't see it on the pay-per-view, but when you see it on Beyond the Mat, you know how serious the shit was. Anyway, number 1 involves Mick Foley again, Hell in the Cell, 1998, and I can't believe this was the spot that, the whole throwing off the cell from The Undertaker and then getting chokeslammed. That second spot didn't come, by the way. That wasn't planned. But he got chokeslammed through the cell, and I remember going to one of his shows, and I found out he doesn't like talking about that match very much, because people ask him about that match quite a lot, and whether he likes it or not, it's the spot and the match that got him over in WWE. I don't care what anyone says, and whether he likes that or not, and alright, it's not the best thing to have in your locker. How did you get over in WWE? Oh, I got thrown off a cell in 1998. It's not the best thing to have in your repertoire, but it happened. Undertaker almost killing the guy, and what was amazing is the fact that he actually got up, and he had the tooth sticking out of him and sticking out of his nose and no teeth, and Jesus Christ, it was just a complete bloodbath. And like I say, guys, if you haven't seen it, I suggest you get the network and find it, or find it on YouTube at some point, because you won't believe it, let me tell you. And that about wraps it up for the most extreme WWE matches ever. I thought I'd add that in, guys, since on this episode of the podcast, we're building up to Extreme Rules as well, with the predictions earlier on and all that. So, yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in for an extra added treat. And that about wraps that up, and I'll be back right after this last time out with an outro and a thank you and a little promotion as well involving Mystery Island, so stay tuned.
There's only one wrestling podcast that gives you honest, uncut opinions and the most unique trivia since WWE did The Weakest Link. And the only place you can hear the show-stealing podcast promo every single week.
Covering WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground. Max Wrestling Podcast is the place for you. Join myself, Evan Money Michaela, the Phoenix, and the Butcher. Sundays at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time with your host, Danny Dangerously, on VOC Nation and the Swerve Talk Network.
Go to maxwrestling.wix.com/maxwrestling or follow us at maxwrestlinguk for more details.
Give in to the madness.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. It's just a little quick outro, guys. Check out all the guys on the Swerve Talk Network. Like I said at the beginning of the show, Max Wrestling Podcast with Craig, Daz, and co. Check out Evan McCabe as well. Be sure to check him out. That guy is over as fuck. Offshoot Radio with my guy James Belmont, the one and only Max Rodriguez, thank God, and Roxy and all that good stuff as well. And also check out my mentor, the one and only Kitty Killer as well. And Kitty, I'll be in touch with you very, very soon, because you're coming on the podcast June 11th. I can't wait for that. Hopefully all goes well and everything. We can get you on and record on June 11th. And which will go out June 13th, apparently, if I'm mistaken as well. But I'll talk to you about that in the future. Also, I want a Sunday Segway t-shirt as well, so hopefully I can get in touch with you with that, and hope we can work something out in that respect as well. Please keep in touch with me on them t-shirts. I need one. I gotta support my mentor. I gotta support the guy that paved the way for me. So if I don't do it, then that'd be more like a dickhead one. So I've got to do it at some point. But please allow that to happen. But be sure to check them out each and every weekend, Saturday through Monday, because I'm the last one on the Monday. So be sure to check every one of them out as well. It is a beautiful thing, because we are, like James Belmont says, we are the elite, baby. Too sweet. Now, one more bit of information that I forgot regarding the Mystery Island crew. Check out every link in the description, whether you're seeing this on YouTube or SoundCloud. Check everybody out in the Mystery Island, but there's one bit of information that I forgot during the first part, so I'm going to do it now. Straight on the island, May 28th. Mr. TNT Roughneck is coming down. It is brought to you apparently by FSM. I believe that's Fighting Spirit Magazine, or Fight Spirit Magazine. Sexy Kev is going to be there. Every bit of information. It is Mystery Island, 56 to 58 Oxton Road, Birkenhead. For information, go to their Facebook pages, or if you want, call the number. I'll give you the number. 07541 761 956. Get yourself in there. All the information will be there. All the information will be on their YouTube pages, Facebook pages, and Twitter pages, which you can find in the description below. Straight to the island, brought to you by Mystery Island. Get yourself over there. It all takes place May 28th from 1 p.m. So be sure to get yourself over there. May 28th, if you're in the Birkenhead area. And it is 56 to 58 Oxton Road. Apparently, from what David tells me, people are having a very hard time finding that. So get yourself over there and check it out as well. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, it is now, you know what, I'm going to do something quick. But now, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of episode 112 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you're seeing this or hearing this on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Get your word out there. Get the word out there. Download it for free on SoundCloud. Check it out on my website. All the links to them will be in the description below. My name is Anthony Walker. You guys are beautiful. You really are beautiful. Beautiful people. Beautiful wrestling fans. And until next week, my name is Anthony Walker, like I say, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change! Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up!
Yes, 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 yes!
That's 13-14!
Dina, I am the best in the world.
'Cause that's the bottom line. 'Cause Stone Cold said so.